Hello, we're back again on the Coach T podcast show. I am here with the man, the myth, the legend, a guy that I like to call the big deal. He is Mr. Indiana to me, has a family, a lineage of Hoosiers, and more importantly, a great guy, a mentor, someone that is passionate about his university, as well as passionate about helping young adults grow and mature and become better people. And we are here with Mark Deal. Mark Deal he's a native of Hobart, Indiana, and I actually have my Hobart gear on, my purple and my gold. He is currently the Assistant Athletic Director for Alumni Relations at Indiana and is the immediate past president of the Indiana Association. And Indiana is, as you can tell by his nice shirt, that is his alma mater. Through and through. Mark played center, the center position for the Hoosier football team from 1975 to 1978. Bear with me because, he has a lot of accolades, so this is going to go on for a little bit. He's also a former college football coach with stops at Rutgers, VMI, Kansas State, Marshall, Wabash, and, of course, his alma mater, Indiana. He is a 2013 inductee into the Indiana Football Hall of Fame. He was actually joined in the same class by his brother, Mike, and both Mark and Mike joined their father, who was inducted into the Indiana Football Hall of Fame in 1976. That's impressive. He's a true Hoosier, as I mentioned, through and through. Mark and his wife, Patricia, also an IU grad, have one daughter, Carrie, and one son, Casey. Carrie, who was a former all Big Ten volleyball player at Indiana, is married to a former Indiana University quarterback and now Army Captain Blake Powers. And Mark and Patricia have five wonderful grandchildren. The newest just arrived last Friday?
Last Friday, yes.
Last Friday, nice. Congratulations. And I thought this was, when I first, read this, I thought it was like fake. I thought maybe you put it in there, but this note right here is absolutely crazy. The Deal family became the first in Indiana University athletics history to have 4 generations of letter winners. That's amazing.
Yeah,
that's pretty good.
The fourth one was my brother's granddaughter,
Mm-hmm.
Riley, who lettered in softball 2 years ago.
That's
so
awesome,
she became the 4th generation. So yeah, it's something we're real proud of. Good.
So if you cannot tell, Mr. Deal is a true Hoosier and absolutely despises Purdue. I can't say that enough. So you can elaborate on, obviously, you yourself, your career. We'll obviously get into some Q&A, but is there anything else you want to add?
Well, the best thing I saw was when we got on this podcast and on this our Zoom connection was I saw you in the purple and gold with that block H on. Love seeing that. I am a Hoosier, but I am a Brickie.
Yes.
And born in Gary, Indiana. My brother was born in Gary, Indiana. We are Brickies through and through. Our dad was the only job he ever had was working at Hobart.
Yes, sir.
Being the head football coach from 1947 through 1965, and then being the principal first of the junior high. We had a junior high, not a middle school, and then became principal of the high school in 1972 and did that until he retired in 1979. So 33 years my dad worked for the Hobart school system and was from Hobart. So yeah, my brother and I were born in Gary, and people say, why were you born in Gary? Well, Hobart didn't have a hospital until 1975. So we were, Mike and I were both born in Methodist Hospital right downtown Gary. But we lived in Hobart all our lives and grew up in Hobart, and just a great place to grow up.
Yes.
Being son of a football coach in my early years, then the son of a principal. I think the son of the principal was a lot harder. Just because of the way my dad was a principal, and those from Hobart understand how my dad was. He was
no nonsense,
pretty tough and intense as a principal. But I was very fortunate to play at Hobart and play for Don Howell, who played for my dad. And when my dad was offered this job, it was great because he could name Coach Howell the head coach, and you don't often get in that position where you get one of your players and assistants to be your successor, but that was great. And I always tell people I was the luckiest guy in the world because I got to be coached by the two greatest coaches ever at Hobart.
Yes.
In Russ Deal, who coached me every day of my life, and Don Howell, who I played for in high school. So I was very blessed for that. But then went on to IU and it's had my career and then started into coaching, and all of a sudden, how many ever years later, here I am.
Here you are, and you've been at Indiana. Obviously, you know this. How many years have you?
This will be my 30th football season.
Yes.
At IU as a player, a coach, or an administrator. Be my 30th football season. Now I've been at IU consecutively. I'd have to do the math. I think it's 25 years now. I came back in 1996. So, in January of 96. So, yeah. So I believe this is my 25th year.
So my question is, when are you going to get a statue? I'm waiting on that.
if they do, it'll be right outside one of the Johns out of the golf cart. Believe me.
Right. That's what I'm gonna start a petition, man. You need one. You need one soon. So for those that do not know, what is your day-to-day role entail? Like what exactly are you doing on a day-to-day basis?
It depends on the season, or the time of year, I should say. Not the season, because growing up with me, there was football season, then there was basketball season at Hobart, then there was baseball season.
Yep.
Then in the summer, you're trying to do all different sports to get ready for all three sports you're playing, and then there's football season again. So it wasn't spring, fall, winter. It was more what the sports season it was. So during football season, I'm highly involved with our football program. I'm at every meeting. I'm an operations guy, basically. I was the director. I've had a lot of hats at Indiana. When you were there playing for us, Terrence, I was first the assistant director of football operations for Coach Lynch, and he brought me in, actually created the position because Harold Morrow was getting ready to retire, and he wanted
Harold.
Wanted the talk about the legend. There's no bigger legend than Harold Morrow. And he wanted me to kind of learn under Harold and then take over when Harold retired, which is what I did. I've held that role, but now I'm still in an operations role, and things have grown in the football world and certainly at IU too. But I still do a lot of things that I did for Coach Lynch in 2008, way back when. So, for example, I go to every practice. I'm there every day. I do all the alumni things. When we had, was it 3 years ago, we honored your team, the Insight Bowl team. I planned that whole reunion for our alumni when we had our 10-year reunion for the Insight Bowl team that played 13 and was just one of the great years ever at IU for a lot of reasons involved. My wife and I were just talking about that season tonight at dinner just a few minutes ago.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of things that I do. One of the things that I do during the season is I do the advance work on all our trips. So if we're getting ready to go play Wisconsin, and I'll leave on Thursday and get to Madison ahead of time, and I got to make sure I'm a logistics guy. Logistics wins the war. So I'll get there on Thursday. I'll make sure everything's set at the hotels, go all over go over all the banquet orders for food at the hotel. I'll go to the airport. Where's the plane come in? Where do we TSA on the way out? Where does the luggage come? Where do the buses come in? I got to contact the buses. I mean, there's a million things you got to think about before I get the police escort, coordinate a police escort to and from and after game.
No joke.
There's a million things. There's a million logistic things that people think of when you take a 70-man football team and then coaches or whatever. So we're travel parties about 120, 125 with coaches and managers and things like that. You think, well, you just, get on the plane or get on the bus and go to the game, and
not that simple. No way.
There's a million things you got to think about, and there's a million things and as a player, I never thought about that.
Same. I was going to say, I never thought about it. And
you just okay, where's the bus? I get on the bus and I go play, but all these things have to be done.
Yep.
And you want it done well because you don't want any surprises. You want everything to go smoothly. You don't want any problems. So, and I'm pretty anal about it, and I've been doing it. This will be my 13th year doing it, and I did it for Coach Lynch. I did it for Coach Wilson. I've done it for Coach Allen. And being an ex-coach, there's things you don't want to have to do. There's just little things that happen. If a guy's recruiting, if a coach is recruiting on Friday night and he comes in and he's got a rental car, I'll drive the rental car back out to the airport for him and drop it off. And I do all those things that make it easier on them because even though everybody calls me coach, I'm at every practice. Everybody still calls me Coach Deal and, this and that.
You are Coach Deal.
I'm the attaboy coach now. If somebody does something good in practice, I say attaboy.
There you go. Nice.
I don't have to criticize or critique or everything. I can be a positive factor, and that's fun. And the good thing is that I witness that. So that's my main goal during the season, because that entails a lot of different things. Post game food, didn't even think about that. I order all the post game food. Got to make sure that gets there in time. So during the game, we're playing in Madison in our first game. Sometime in the third quarter, I'm sweating like crazy. Okay, post-game food's got to get to downtown Madison. You've been to Madison, you know how crazy that is. It's hard to get stuff in there. Traffic and crazy, and I'm worried about Kentucky Fried Chicken delivering.
Right, exactly.
The stadium.
I will say, when I was there, never had a hiccup. Pre-game, post-game, and like you said, when you're a player, I mean, you're thinking about the game, right? You're thinking about, what is it going to take to win this game, and not even thinking about. Yeah, exactly.
You should be worried about.
And that's when someone has done a really good job in terms of planning everything, being a logistics just master. Because when all you have to do is focus on the game as a player and as a coach, as someone like you've definitely done your job.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun, and I know because I've been in the Big Ten for a while, and you see the same. That's the neat thing, in Wisconsin we haven't been to in a while. I think it's been, the last time we were at Wisconsin was 13, so it's been a while since we've been up to Madison. But you go to Ann Arbor every other year because we're in the Big Ten East, so you go to Ann Arbor every other year. You know the same people, they're familiar faces in operations at the school, and they know
cool.
me.
That's cool.
The cops there. We go to Rutgers every other year, and there's Lieutenant Aquaviva. I know his name from Rutgers. I didn't know him when I coached at Rutgers, but I've gotten to know him. He's my guy. He coordinates all my my getting the buses and my escorts and all those things and all those different things. So, you get to know these people. You go to Michigan and Ohio State and most of the people, that's the great part about it in the Big Ten is most of the conference schools, you want to beat their butt, but they're not trying to screw you. They're good. They're very, they do their best for, they treat you great. And I always tell them, I said, and I don't have to deal with that when I'm at, for our home games, that's our game day management people. But I always say, I hope our game day management people at Indiana treat all of our opponents as nice as they treat me, because they really do. And I can't thank I can't thank them enough. And yeah, I say Purdue, but Purdue couldn't have been better.
Yeah, I believe it.
Played there our last game last year. Just tremendous. They reach out, and and I like I said, I hope we reciprocate in kind.
Yeah,
because you want to beat them on the field. You don't want any of that petty stuff.
Exactly. And that's the beauty of it. And I think it has a lot to do with just, the Midwest culture. You look out for your neighbor, and, like you said, we want a good game on the field, right? That's where the battling happens. But, outside of that, like you said, you're seeing people, maybe once a year, once every couple years, every other year, whatever it may be. And, you develop a relationship with them. And, the same struggles that they come up in your role, same struggles happen at Northwestern or Rutgers or, Minnesota. So there's a common bond there, knowing, hey, like, we're all trying to do our best to help our team play their best.
And no doubt. And in the, once the postseason and the bowl season starts, I'm the biggest Big Ten fan there is. I want them all to do good because, I'm prejudiced. I mean, after our game at Michigan, and they beat our butt pretty good. And I know a lot of Michigan coaching staff, throughout the years because I've been around so long. I know Jim Harbaugh because I coached with John Harbaugh at IU. So John, I know the Harbaugh family very well. And I shook hands with Jim after the game, and he was very gracious. And I said, hey, I said, good luck and win your bowl game. Wherever you're going to go, win your bowl game. You want the Big Ten because we got a darn good league, and it's not, I get sick and tired of hearing all this SEC stuff.
Yeah.
Big Ten's pretty darn good, and the Big Ten East is the best division in football,
top to bottom. Thank you.
No doubt.
Thank you.
Not even close. Don't give me your SEC West or whatever.
And if you say it, it has to be true. So I'm going with your word. So
no doubt.
Perfect. So what led to you getting out of, the on-field coaching of it into your current position?
Well, basically, I got fired.
Yeah, it happens to all of us at some point.
And I've been fired at different schools, and I'm not saying Indiana. I've been fired at Indiana 3 times, and rehired and doing different.
That's how you know they love you.
I have a charge by. I'm like a bad penny. I've been fired 3 times at IU by my alma mater, but you move into a different, in different head coaches. You're like, I was fortunate enough the first time at IU when I got fired with Coach Mallory that Cam Cameron and I were with the Holiday Bowl, got my Holiday Bowl windbreaker here, our Holiday Bowl champion patch on, that we had our 40-year anniversary this last year.
Very nice.
But Cam and I have known each other since 1979, so I got to stay there. I didn't know Jerry DiNardo. So, when the head coach gets let go, the whole staff gets let go.
Yep.
And it's, and that's happened to other places. It's rare that you get to stay. And
exactly.
So I transitioned into a role in the IU varsity club. And I was very blessed that I was able to get that. At the time, Clarence Doniger was our athletic director, and was very gracious to me for that, and I thank him very much. And Dave Martin was the director of our varsity club, and then Scott Dolson took over, and they were very good to me, and I worked that and was working in the varsity club and in development, and because I've been around a while and I have a history at IU, my dad being the captain of the 1945 Big Ten championship team at IU.
Yes.
So I knew people from that. My brother played on the 1967 Rose Bowl team. I knew all the Rose Bowl guys. Then I played for Coach Corso in the 70s, so I had that group that I knew. I coached for Coach Mallory, and through that, even though I coached in the 90s for Coach Mallory, I got to know the guys when I was gone. From the 80s, and gotten to know them, and have become real good friends with some of the Mallory guys in the 80s. And so I knew a lot of those guys anyway, so it just kind of
Mm-hmm.
served me well in that regard. So I did that and loved it. And then after Coach Hepp died and Coach Lynch took over, he approached me about moving back, leaving the varsity club and going into leaving fundraising, going into football again, and becoming the assistant director of operations because he knew Harold was going to be retiring. And that was a hard decision because I loved doing what I was doing. And that was hard. It was real hard. In fact, I took 3 weeks to make the decision before I did that because I felt a sense of loyalty to Scott Dolson and Kelly Bamba and the people at the varsity club. I enjoyed doing what I was doing. But at the end of the day, because I'd go back and forth with it, to be very honest with you. At the end of the day, I did and went back to football and was that and have kind of stayed that. But I never really left doing things with the varsity club. If there's, Scott, if Scott or Kelly or somebody, hey, you know this guy better than anybody, can you talk to them about maybe possibly giving a gift for IU? Terry Talon was my teammate, who donated $2 million for the Terry Talon football complex. And anyway, we were talking, actually it's more than 2 million, but I shouldn't say that. But anyway, Terry, we were just talking, and out of the blue, he came up with this, he talked about, hey, how can I help? And I kind of came up with an idea, and I wasn't even soliciting that at that time, and
wow,
brought to Scott Dolson, and the rest became the Terry Taylor football complex.
There you go.
Terry's one of my dear friends. We've known each other since 1977, teammates. He got married for the first time at age 59, and I was a groomsman in his wedding at age 61.
That
is wow. Married. We never thought he'd get married, and he got married for the first time. And I was in a tuxedo. It was like I was back in college. And all of us were, all our teammates there. We were all 60 years old.
That's beautiful.
It was pretty amazing. We all thought.
Well, that's what makes college special too, and just the college, experience where you're able to, especially if you play a sport, you are able to develop these relationships with, a lot of guys that you never knew before even getting into college, and you meet people from different walks of life, different areas, just different people in general, but you guys bond because you're all doing the same thing. And then it fosters into a long life relationship.
And that's the best part about my job is being assistant athletic director for Alumni Relations. Technically, I do things for all sports, and I really do. And I was the president of our eye association board of directors, which is our Letterman's Club. Which if you're a letter winner at IU, whether it's football or whether it's field hockey for women or water polo for women, you're a letter winner and part of our eye association. And I was very privileged. I've been on that board for a long time, and I was privileged.
Well, I mean, if anyone knows about letter winners, it's you and your family.
I was very privileged to be that president because it's a great honor and it's a lot of responsibility, but that's one of the neat parts about my job and is the connections with football, because it was really great because I mentioned the 40s with my dad, and then the 60s with my brother, and then the 70s basically. I knew that from where I was, and it spilled over a little bit in the 80s. Then I started coaching in the 90s, and that lasted into the early 2000s. Then I was away for a little bit, but came back, and now I'm back again. So there's really, you can name a guy And I could tell you pretty much, okay, he played for Coach DiNardo,
Yeah.
He was a 3-coach guy. He was,
You're
that's
like
what
an encyclopedia, man.
Marcus Thigpen, Marcus Thigpen's a DiNardo, Hebner Lynch guy.
Yep.
You could, I kind of know who they are by that.
Yeah.
So I
That's
know
cool.
the eras, and it's been great because I was that. And I'll be honest with you, I'm blessed by that because I got 2 predecessors, and we mentioned Harold Morrow, but the first one was Howard Brown. And Coach Brown played with my dad in the 1940s. And he was an assistant coach at Indiana starting after he came back from playing for the Detroit Lions from the 50s all the way through into the 70s. And he recruited me. And but he was always there, and he was the guy that was the glue. And then he had a heart attack, unfortunately, and died at age like 54 or something.
Wow.
Like that. But he was the glue. And then Harold Morrow took up that mantle because Harold was head coach at IU forever, center on the Rose Bowl. And, I say Harold, and a big smile came to your face because Harold's that kind of guy that gives you that. And Harold was that glue. Well, then Harold retired. So I just am picking up the baton from Howard
2 great
Brown,
guys
Harold
before
Morrow,
you.
Mark Deal. Mm-hmm. So I'm not, I'm just, I'm third team. I'm all third team. There's
pretty good, all third team.
First string, second string, third string. I'm third string in that group.
Nice, beautiful. Let me ask this: in terms of balancing work life, home life. I mean, you become a professional in terms of balancing all those things. What advice would you have for maybe a young person in your role to balance work life and home life?
Wow. I will say this. My wife did, as a college football coach from 1980 through the 2000s. For like 22 years or whatever. And she did a great job raising our kids, with that because, it's pretty intense. And I didn't get, and it doesn't, and people say, it doesn't matter what level you're coaching at. What we worked just as hard at Wabash College as I did at IU.
Correct.
Because it meant just as much, and we were really good. And we lost 2 games in 4 years. Yeah. So, we were terrific. So there's a lot of pressure. Mm-hmm. But, we worked our butt off there. And so and then you work your butt off recruiting there, your Division III recruiting. So, and Wabash.
Truly year round.
When you coach in Division III, you understand that. Mm-hmm. And Wabash is such a great school, and it's all male.
Yes.
And it's very high academic standards. And there's a certain subset of people.
Smaller percentage of people.
Small percentage, one that can get in academically. And then 2, when you tell them it's an all male school, half of them turn around and say, "What are you, nuts? You don't go to a school."
Look at you like you have 2 heads.
Yeah, goodbye. And VMI was the same way. I coached at VMI, which had at one point there were three all-male schools playing college football, and I'd coached at 2 of them.
Wow.
Wabash and VMI. VMI was still all-male at the time. Mm-hmm. But to answer your question, it's a tough balancing act. When you have time off, you have time off. It was really interesting because when I got fired and I joined the varsity club, that was kind of the years where my kids were doing things. So I wasn't involved I wasn't staying, spending every night. At some point there, when I was at Indiana, I'd leave, back in the late 90s, on Sunday I'd kiss the kids goodbye. Mm-hmm. And I would not physically talk to them.
Yeah.
Because they were still asleep when I left in the morning. They were in bed when I got home, I would not physically talk to them other than kiss them goodnight when they were asleep until Thursday because of that. So that, that's a granted just the way it is, but when I was in the varsity club, then it was neat because I got to go to all my daughter played in high school and in middle. She played volleyball, she played basketball, she ran track. So I got to go to every one of those games. I got to go to all of her volleyball games, all of her basketball games, all of her track meets.
Beautiful. That's beautiful, man.
It was awesome, and they were very successful at Bloomington North all those times, and I would get to see those. For my son, for Casey, I was his Little League coach from 11 years old all the way through his 15, his last year in Babe Ruth. So there were all those games, all those all-star trips. I mean, and I was on the board of directors of Babe Ruth, and I'd spend all the time out there. If I wasn't coaching him 2 nights a week, I was running the concession stand out.
You got to see him. You got to see him at a crucial time too.
Right. And then he became a better golfer and a baseball player, ended up playing golf in high school. So then those became golf trips and things. And those are, memories that he and I just cherish. Him in summer golf and on the summer golf tour, and he was very good. Where, taking him all over the state, playing in the junior tour events and things. So it was something that we really shared. It was really neat. Yeah. So I got to balance that. And frankly, that was one of the reasons why I didn't know if I wanted to do it, but the kids, when they found out that I had a chance to join Coach Lynch and go back to football, they just said, "What are you, crazy?"
Right.
We want you back with football. And so I did, and, it all worked out.
Yeah, it all worked out for sure. Let's say you exclude college coaching, you exclude obviously your current position. What would you be doing right now?
If I wasn't doing my current position?
Yes.
If I didn't do my current position.
Nor coaching.
Huh?
So no coaching as well. So you have none of those options. You cannot coach.
Oh, okay. Well, that's a tough one. Okay. Because, my goal was not to be a college coach. That was not my goal. I went to IU. My whole goal was to go to IU. I played football, graduate. Then I was going to stay on, get my master's, which I did. And then my whole goal was to come back to Hobart. And my high school basketball coach at Hobart was Jim Lichtenberger. I loved Coach Lichtenberger and played basketball with him. And I love Coach Howell and Mo Rodia, my baseball coach. Coach Lichtenberger died about a year ago, unfortunately. Great man. Loved him.
Yeah.
My senior year at Hobart, on Tuesday nights, playing basketball in high school in Hobart, Coach Lichtenberger would go scout. We're going to play, we're going to play Calumet next week, and Calumet's playing on Tuesday night. He'd come over to my house, pick me up, and we'd go scout Calumet.
There you go. Yeah.
And we go together, and we'd go scout Calumet. And he said, and he told me then, he said, "Mark," he said, "once you get done going to IU and playing football," he says, "so I want you to come back, and once you come back, you're going to be my assistant coach in basketball." And so that was my plan. I was going to come back. I was going to come back home. I was going to be, try and get a job teaching at Hobart, and I was going to hopefully coach for Coach Howell and Coach Lichtenberger. And that got waylaid when I got that opportunity after 1 year as a GA at Indiana to get into college coaching. And I wasn't seeking it, but it worked out. Obviously,
it worked out.
Obviously changed my life. If I didn't do that, that's an interesting question. I was offered before I was offered the Wabash job, I was offered midway through the fall semester of 1979 when I was working on my master's by Bob Stevens, an opportunity, who was head of the varsity club, but he had talked to some people in the Alumni Association of me working with the Alumni Association at IU and working there.
Look at
And
that.
I thought about that. I said, no, I think I want to coach. I think, my dad was a coach. My brother was a coach.
Yeah.
I was a high school coach. I wasn't thinking college at the time. And I said, no, not right now. I appreciate that because, for whatever reason, they were looking for a young guy and gung ho and an IU guy. And my last name was Deal. I'm not arrogant enough to think that I've gotten a lot of things because my first name's Mark Deal. I'm Mutt Deal's son here at IU. My dad's a legend. He's in the Hall of Fame here. He opened every door for me. I'm blessed to be the son of Russ Deal. And he's opened so many doors for me at Indiana that would be. So possibly I do that. I always thought I might want to go into broadcasting.
You would be a wonderful broadcaster.
You know what?
Great
I'm
voice
hoping you send this audition tape out, so maybe they get you a shot.
You know what? You're doing a wonderful job, man. I mean, like listening to you, knowing your voice, it could be a voice that I could listen to on the TV.
Well, I kind of always thought I would do that. We'll watch games.
Yeah.
Danny and I'll watch games, and I'll sit there and I'll say something that the color man will say before he says it.
Yep.
And she looks at me and says, how much money is he making?
Right.
You just said that. I said, well, I look at
what Tony Romo signed for. So
I kind of look at things like that. So,
yeah.
So I don't know that, that would have been it. But, I think I'd have, the plan was not to be in, college coaching that. The plan was to come back and come back to Hobart, where I still have so many friends and so many fond memories. It's always been home.
There's an old saying: we plan and God laughs. So, I mean, we can make plans as much as we want, but it may not work out that way. More than likely, it won't.
There's also an old saying that a dear friend of both of you and I used to say, and we mentioned this. I mentioned this in our football Zoom staff meeting the other day. I said, Coach Hepp always used to say, have a plan, work the plan, and plan for the unexpected.
Yep, exactly.
Coach Heppism that is exactly right.
That's a great one, yes.
Coach Hepp was a wise guy, and that was,
yes, he was.
A very wise man, not a wise guy.
Yep.
Can't say wise guy in the region. They think that's a different that's a different connotation.
Right.
He's a wise man.
Yes.
And no, he was a very wise man, and that's exactly right.
Awesome. Yeah. Good, man. Good stuff. So let's get into you just a little bit more. What is something that you are curious about or interested in currently? So what interests you just currently? Just anything.
Anything? Well, this is very topical. I'm interested in finding a cure or a vaccine for this problem that our whole world is going through.
I like that one.
That interests me, and it's hard to watch the news right now because I come and go on that. I want to try and stay up on that and involved in that, but sometimes it just depresses you. You can't. You got to sometimes step away from it. But try and keep up on that because it means so much to the world, and hopefully that'll get things will brighten up in that regard.
Yeah.
So that stuff interests me, and I think there's it's not just the United States. I mean, there's the finest scientists and minds and brilliant people from every continent on the planet that are working on this. So, these guys are really smart. They're a lot smarter than I am. So I'm just, that interests me. And I like reading about that stuff. I don't know anything about it. My wife is a nurse. She understands the aspects of the trials and vaccinations and stuff. But, there's a sense of urgency throughout,
throughout the world.
Spain, in France,
Yes.
in
Yes.
Germany, wherever,
Yeah.
Italy, China, the United States, everywhere.
Yeah. And it's one of those things where, no matter your age, no matter what you've seen, what you've been through, everyone will remember this without a doubt.
It's touched everyone.
Yes,
Touched
yes,
everyone.
yes, yes. So, obviously, praying for those out there that are have been affected, that family members that are have been affected, or anyone on the front lines that's working. So definitely looking. Hopefully, this leaves sooner than later. So,
Yeah, and I will say this: I think the Big Ten has done a very good job being in the forefront of this and being smart with the student athletes in mind. I know Indiana University has. We've got a terrific president in Michael McRobbie who's understood that and the safety of the students in mind. And Fred Glass is our athletic director, and Fred's going to retire in August. Starting.
I didn't know that. Oh wow.
Yeah, and but we couldn't have a better
Yeah.
person as director of athletics at this time.
Great guy. Yes.
Because he was a chief of staff for Governor Bai when Evan Bai was the governor of the state, so he understands the politics. He understands all these kind of things, and Fred's an attorney. He's a brilliant guy, and we couldn't have a better AD to lead us through during this time. And Scott Dolson's going to be our new athletic director, who has been in Fred's right hand man for really for the last 11 or 12 years. So we're in good stead there. But and in fact, Fred's going to stay on and help advise Scott when Scott takes over. So I think it's a really good situation. We're in very good hands at Indiana. They're going to do what's right for our student athletes, whether it's football, whether it's cross country this fall, whether it's volleyball, whatever.
Yeah, good to know. And good to know, for those out there that are, whether you're a student, whether you're a family member, in Indiana, normally, I mean, they do the right thing. That's what I've always appreciated. And, I know that the alumni are very proud of the way, you guys have handled things. And we know that as things continue, you guys are going to continue doing the right thing. So what's something about you that most do not know?
Something about me that most people don't know.
Yes.
I'm writing a book.
I was going to say that earlier. I'm like, you should write a book. I did not know that. Okay. Do you want to give a little tease to it? Okay.
You
don't have to.
Forever, wherever I've been and coached whatever, when something you'd tell a story or whatever, I would always say, yeah, that's going in my book. Well, there was no book.
Right.
That one's going in my book. Yeah, oh God, what a story that is. Yeah, that one will be in my book. Whether I was coaching at Wabash or Kansas State or wherever,
I know you have a lot of stories.
Yeah, that'll be in my book. And Harold Morrow, actually. Harold and Joy had their 50th wedding anniversary. This would have been in 2016. Yeah, it was 2016. Mm-hmm. They got married in 66. So it's going to be their 50th wedding anniversary. Wow. Well, their daughters did not have a party for them. Instead, they had select friends write something about them or about, about them, a remembrance.
That's cool. Yes.
Well, that was cool for me with Harold because Harold was my brother's. He was he was a center, not captain. He was the starting center on the Rose Bowl team in 1967, and he was a teammate of my brother Mike. Mm-hmm. So I knew Harold as my brother's teammate. Then Harold came back to Indiana. He coached at Indiana, left and went to Northwestern for 4 years with Coach Pont, and then came back. But he came back to Indiana in 1977 and coached centers and guards, and he was my position coach. Okay. In 70.
I didn't know that. Okay.
In 78. Okay. So he was my brother's teammate. He was my coach. Then I was a GA when he was coaching. So,
Mhm.
your GA, you're kind of working with him, kind
Yeah.
of as a colleague, but
Exactly. Yeah.
not really. In the 70s, the
Exactly.
GAs were, we
I know
did
that
a lot of
life.
stuff. So that, and then when it came time when the how did I get to Indiana? I got fired at Rutgers, and there
Mhm.
was a job open at Indiana, and Harold was the first person I called,
Yeah.
and he kind of, even though I knew Coach Mallory, and every summer I would come to Bloomington and see Coach Mallory, and was kind of trying to lay the groundwork a little bit
Mhm.
throughout the 90s. So Coach Mallory knew who I was, but I called Harold, and he kind of helped me with Coach Mallory that I ended up getting the job. So I
Awesome.
knew Harold
Yeah.
from that, and then I became Harold's second in command when I was working for Coach Lynch with him. So I had a lot of hats with Harold. So I said, how do I go? What do I want to write about? I could go take so many things.
Mhm.
Well, I'm trying to be kind of funny. So I told a story of when I played for Harold, and this was in 1977. And how much time we got? Do I got enough time to tell it real quick?
Oh yeah, we definitely have enough
Okay.
time. This is gold.
So 1977, we're getting ready to play Purdue.
Mhm.
And it's my junior year. And we never, unlike today, Coach Corso didn't believe in taking the team. He believed they would sleep better in their own apartments the night before a game instead of taking them to a hotel and that. And he trusted us that we wouldn't go out.
It's a lot of trust.
He did. But some
Yeah.
people were in the dorms too, so it was tough.
Mhm.
Anyway, this was when we played Purdue. It was before Thanksgiving, and it was crazy. So in 1975, we did that, and we were in the dorm, and it was just one huge party after another. Couldn't sleep.
Yeah.
So anyway, Coach Corso decided to take the team just for that game to the Brown County Inn in Nashville. So went to the Brown County Inn, stayed there Friday night, and came back. So I'll make a long story short, had our pregame meal at Brown County, and then we took the bus back to Bloomington. And in those days, our locker room was in the field house, which was attached to Assembly Hall. And we didn't have the locker room in the stadium was only right on just for game day. And we'd dress there, we'd take a little bus and go in the stadium. So I have my pregame meal, and I probably ate a little too much. I'm fired up playing Purdue.
Yes.
I mean, it was.
Oh yeah, you can't
we
replicate
win.
it. Yes.
If we would won the year before, if we win, we'd have beaten Purdue back-to-back, first time in 30 years.
Mhm.
And it was just huge. Ate a little bit too much, got on, and David Freud was our kicker. And he says, Mark, come on. I always sat with David. David was our kicker, but he was a little guy. He was a soccer player. He's like 5'6". So if you're going to sit on a bus, you want to sit next to David, because I could spread out, and he didn't take up a lot of room. He says, Mark, come back. So I sat with David. And I usually like to sit in the bus close because I could get a little motion sickness. So I was halfway through. So I come in there, and we get on that, and you've been on that road, 46 from Nashville.
Yes, sir.
Up and down and windy and in a bus and this and that, and it's hot. Anyway, I'm getting sick.
Yeah.
I'm feeling car sick. Just terrible. Well, Coach took us to the hotel. The assistants didn't go. The only guy that went to the hotel was Coach Corso. All the assistants stayed there. We pull up the bus on the south side of Assembly Hall, and that's where we get out on the south side, and all the coaches are sitting there waiting. I couldn't get off the bus fast enough. I just am ready. The bus gets there. I get up there, and Harold is standing right there. Come out there. As I get off the bus, I get off the bus and throw up all over his shoes as he's standing. So now he's thinking, all right, my center is so excited. He's throwing up already. What is going to happen? It's 11 o'clock in the morning, or it's probably 10:30, 10 o'clock, and he's already throwing up. And it happened to be the 10-year reunion of the Rose Bowl team. So Harold sees my brother, who's the team's being honored down there, and he grabs my brother. I didn't even know this till later. Grabs my brother and says, "What's wrong with your brother? You better see him, talking him into something." He says, "He's so fired up, he's already throwing up." He says, "I'm really worried about him." So I told Harold, I said, "I got car sick. I'm okay. There's nothing wrong with me. I got car sick.
Just car
Bus
sick.
sick on the way there."
Yeah.
So I wrote that. So that was the story I told, that I come out and threw up all over his shoes. So it's really kind of neat, and they love it.
Yeah.
It's a small, but a great story. But there was so much more that happened that week, and I said, "That's interesting." I said, "Let me tell about everything that happened that week." So I went back and I wrote a whole chat, because that week was incredible. I mean, we had a teammate, we had one of our teammates was killed in an auto accident the Saturday night before. We had to go to funerals. His funeral during that week, I mean, it was so emotional. Coach Knight talked to us that week, halfway through the week. I mean, there were just so many things that happened that week and that game and everything. So I wrote a whole chapter on that.
Wow. Yeah.
And then I started saying, got me thinking. So this was 2016. So periodically I've gone back and forth. So basically I'm writing a book that's kind of telling the history of my family and IU football. So
started your stories and
so I started with my dad, and sequentially, and my dad, my
that's
brother,
beautiful.
and me. So that's the book that's the thing nobody knows about.
Okay.
I still got a lot to do. I still got a lot to do, and I write intermittently now with this coronavirus and things. I've written a lot more. Like
That's good for us. That's good for us on this side.
I don't have any time to write it.
Yeah.
And so, but now I've written a lot. There's a lot of things. There's a lot of neat things, that I have. And it's not. And this isn't a rip book. It's not gonna say, this guy was an idiot or what. It's a positive book.
Yes.
There's a lot of stories. There's a lot of neat stories.
People love stories.
There's a lot of Lee Corso stories.
There you go.
I've been blessed to be around, to play for Lee Corso, to coach for Bill Mallory, to have known Terry Hepner since 1980 when we were both small college assistants. There's so many things. Bill Lynch, Kevin Wilson. There's so many. Tom Allen. There's so many. Cam Cameron. And so there's so many things that I've done, and so that's
Yeah, and I would say
I'm not gonna release this until I retire. So,
okay. Well, we'll be waiting. I know it's going to be a great book. And if anyone should be allowed to write the story of Indiana through their eyes, it should be you. It should be you. I'm gonna read.
There's some funny stories.
I believe it.
There's some really,
that last one was good, so I know there's much more in the book.
That's true. I will email you that chapter so you can read the whole thing.
Okay. Sweet.
I'll email you that chapter. That was the first one I wrote.
I started it all.
That's not,
okay.
But
nice.
that kind of gives you an idea of what it is. I'll email that to you.
Thank you. I'll be honored. So we're gonna wrap up with, this has been awesome, by the way. Thank you. We're gonna wrap up with a rapid fire segment. I don't think you saw this. Typically, I have two copies. I have your copy and my copy.
I didn't see this.
The only difference is the rapid fire segment. So we try to keep it fun and light, and end on a positive note. So with this rapid fire segment, you only have 10 seconons to answer each one. Okay, so you gotta think fast.
This is finals week, so yes. They're allowing everybody to go pass fail here if they want in every class.
Okay,
because it's
so
online.
You're gonna go pass fail with this?
I go pass fail if I don't.
Yes.
I want to hurt my grade point average.
Now. Yeah. All right, so let's do it. Again, let's have fun. You get to pick one movie: Caddyshack or Hoosiers.
Oh. Gotta be Hoosiers, only because David Anspaugh and Angelo Pizzo are very good friends of mine, and
Okay.
they're just I got to be there. They both live in Bloomington.
Yeah.
Got to be here.
Yeah.
Even though
Exactly.
even though Caddyshack,
I know.
my son and I mean, there's I play golf all the
Mhm.
time. I
Mhm.
play so much golf, and anybody that plays as much golf as I do, you know everything,
Yeah, exactly.
and it's always appropriate.
Good. 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 I knew that would be a good one. Next one: dogs or cats?
Be dogs. I never had a cat.
Okay.
We had two golden retrievers and a German Shepherd growing up in Hobart. So
Okay. Nice. Nice.
we
Dog.
have
I
none
like
now, and I don't want either one.
it. You're done. You're done raising anything right now.
Yeah, no.
You raise a Rose Bowl trophy. That's about it.
Yeah.
All right. Next, a remote island or remote campgrounds?
Oh, remote island.
Okay. Okay.
To me, to
Cheeseburger.
me, to me, camping is staying at a Holiday Inn that doesn't have ESPN2. To me,
Yeah.
that's camping. That
Doesn't
is,
have Wi-Fi.
yeah. Well, I'm not that. It's more. How many cable
Right.
channels can I get? Yeah. Doesn't have TNT during the NBA
Right.
playoffs. That's
Exactly.
To me, that's
Exactly.
camping.
Yeah. That should be illegal, by the way.
You know, remote
Um,
island, I could find a place to play golf. So
right. There you go. There
yeah,
you go. Uh, cheeseburgers or tacos?
I'd have to go cheeseburgers.
Okay. Would you rather be the passenger or the driver?
Driver.
Okay.
I'm very. I
Yeah.
like the control.
Yeah. You don't want to get motion sickness again, so you gotta
No,
make sure.
no, yeah. I won't throw up on Harold's shoes again.
Yeah. A card game or a board game?
All my friends from Hobart, my dear friend Paul Condry, who you know,
Mm-hmm.
uh, spent a lot of time. And of course, we grew up together, and Hobart, he's a year ahead of me, and we spent a lot. He spent a lot of evenings playing poker in my basement. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Gotta go with the
in
card
high
game.
school, a lot of poker games in the Deal basement in high school.
Okay.
You know,
Good.
Paul
Good.
would definitely say
I'm
card.
the same way. I'm the same way. I love it. This is one that I typically ask most guests. On a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the highest, how weird are you?
How weird am I?
How weird are you?
Oh, my wife would say an 11. There's
Okay,
no doubt.
we'll
There's
go with the
no doubt.
wife.
And I probably wouldn't give myself an 11, but definitely 10. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, there you go.
We,
And
we,
I always give myself a high grade, and I say, you know what? If you're weird, people remember it. If you're weird in a good
you know how weird I am. Oh
way.
my gosh. The other, just to tell you how weird I am, when we had that, we talked off the air before here, we had that Zoom meeting of all our IU football
Mm-hmm.
uh,
Mm-hmm.
alumni with Coach Allen. And when we had it, I went into the locker room. We have a cabinet case, and I got the old oaken bucket out.
Yeah.
And so when we were standing here like
Yeah.
that, when everybody introduced themselves, I pulled up and I held up the old oaken bucket,
Nice. Nice.
and
Oh my God.
everybody kind of,
Probably went crazy.
they loved it and laughed, and I had the whole thing there. Well, then the babe our granddaughter was born,
Mm-hmm.
and a couple days later or whatever, and I still had the bucket before I took
Okay.
it back. And so Carrie's FaceTiming, and she's holding the baby, and I had the
Go to
bucket,
your.
and I brought the bucket to my granddaughter that's a couple days old, and I said, Camille, I said, here's your Uncle Bucket right here.
That
So that definitely would think that I'm an 11.
would get you to 11. Okay. I think your wife's right.
Weird, because the kids always laughed and said that that was. They said, who's your favorite child? Well, there's Carrie, there's Casey, and then there's the bucket. So,
There's the
and the
bucket.
bucket is always the favorite child. So,
Oh my gosh, I love it. I love it. What is something that you are afraid of?
heights.
Heights. That's probably the number one answer.
Yeah.
Heights.
Yeah.
Hate
You
heights.
could,
I'm the same way.
you couldn't get me to, like go up on a roof or something like that. I'm not,
Yeah.
not big on
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Not big on that at all. And after, we had a IU varsity club event thing. This was when Tom Crean first got the job.
Mm-hmm.
And I was still in the varsity club before Tom got the job. We had it in Chicago. We had it in the Sears Tower. We had it up in the Sears Tower. And I guess after 9/11, that kind of, I just felt, that there's nothing, even though it was secure and safe, but just, it just made you feel a little bit different to be, maybe it's the heights of the Sears Tower kind of thing, but just made you feel.
I'm the same way. Heights get to me.
Yeah.
I like to be low to the ground.
Yeah.
Like on the ground.
Like keep your feet on the ground. Yeah.
Yes. Lastly, what is your most precious, I say possession, but I'm actually going to change that. What is the most precious thing in your life?
Oh, my family, no doubt. My wife, my daughter, my son, my son-in-law, and my grandchildren, no doubt. Their family is everything. They're the most precious things. And we haven't, like I said, I haven't seen, our granddaughter was just born, haven't seen her yet. We hope to get out to West, in New York. We hope to get out to West Point here at the end of May to see them. So I can't wait. Can't wait to see. No doubt.
I bet you. Yeah, I bet they can't wait to see you. So, so this is awesome, man. This was great. If anyone out there wants to find out more information about you or obviously Indiana football, where should they go? Probably the website.
Yeah. The website, that we have, which is iuhoosiers.com. Is our website. I'm not on Twitter. I'm not a big social media-ite. if that's a word. So, but
I think you just made that up, but that works.
Yeah, iuhoosiers.com. My email's in there. I'd love to talk to anybody if anybody has any questions or whatever.
Yep. And if anyone is close to Bloomington, and they want to check out a game this Saturday or this fall on Saturdays, definitely do it. You will not be disappointed with the atmosphere, with the game day. All that's going on with the games. It's family friendly. It's a great atmosphere, and it's Bloomington has a special place in my heart.
I hope I hope we're playing. I hope things have calmed down by then because we got a chance to be okay.
Yeah.
We've got a lot of people back. We got a chance to be a pretty good football team, and we're doing some good things. And Coach Allen, I've been with Coach Allen since day one, since that day he was hired, and in fact, I took over as the director of football operations for a period of about 5 months until he brought in Mike Doig, who was his guy, and I was the interim guy because I knew what to do. But and I've been with him every step of the way, and I'm just real excited about his passion and what he's doing, with the program and things, and so I'm,
he seems like a coach players would want to play for.
He's a guy that's got a lot of qualities of a lot of coaches. He's very smart. He's a very smart guy. Very smart, like Kevin. Kevin Wilson's a very smart guy. You can borrow a little bit from everybody. He's very smart, like Kevin Wilson. He's got he's got some of the grit that Bill Mallory had of guys that I know I was working with. He's very he's got the he's kind of got the passion of Coach Hep and that kind of thing. Yeah. And
energetic.
And I think he's got the values of Bill Lynch. So there are a lot of things, these are all guys that I respect and are dear people
Yes.
to me. Every
Yes.
one of those, Kevin Wilson, Bill Lynch, Bill Mallory, all of them are very dear to me. Coach Hep, they're all very dear to me. And Tom has got a little bit of all those guys in that. So
that's good. Okay. Okay.
it is. It's a good deal.
Good. Well, I want to thank you again. I don't think, this is one of the better interviews I've had. So you've done a wonderful job. And, again, I want to thank you for coming on the show and, telling us such great stories and being available. And I can't wait until this gets out and people hear it, and because I know it's going to be a great show.
Make sure you send it to the Big Ten Network so I can get to that next career that you asked me about that I didn't get to.
And tell them whatever they're paying that guy, you'll take half of it. That's it. You come cheap. So
I'm younger than Coach DiNardo.
there you go. Well, Lee Corso is still doing it, so there you go.
I talked to Coach Corso. What is today? Wednesday. I talked to Coach Corso on Monday.
Wow. How's he doing?
He's doing great. I jump off Valentine Hall for him. My coach. Yeah. Just love him to death.
Awesome. Well, cool, man. This is good, and I look forward to possibly doing this again down the road. So,
sounds good.
Blessings to you and your family. Stay safe. Stay upbeat, and go Hoosiers.
Go Brickies.
Go Brickies as well. Yes. Yeah. There we go.
Tell all my Bricky friends. Tell all my Bricky fans hi.
I will. I'll see you.
Thanks, buddy. All righty.